Okay, another beautiful morning today, so I thought I'd jump on getting a little bit more done on this tractor. We really got to get this thing running. That sawmill has got to be up and running, and we need this thing functioning. So I got a big walnut log that's ready to be sawn up, and I need this tractor even to load it onto the mill. So today's project is going to be working on a couple of things. Try to get, I don't know if you can see here, it's hard for me to tell if I'm showing you the right thing. Gonna get some new fuel lines bent and routed and installed in there, and see if we can get that much accomplished. Got just a few miscellaneous items left to put on the tractor, the battery tray, things like that, and then we are ready to start the wiring. So today, like I say, I'm gonna spend a few hours here just working on fuel lines and that sort of thing, and then we'll go from there. So these are the original fuel lines that came off. This one is the high pressure return. It's in good shape. I've got new rubber grommets to go on all the fittings, so we can just reinstall that one. The other, let's see, this is one of the this is the line that that screws into, that the return line screws into to dump the fuel back in the tank. So, and it's okay too. It's a little painted up and stuff, but there's no injury to it. These other two, however, this one's been, I think I showed you this before, but this one's been brazed back together out in the field and is not looking good. So we're going to bend a new one of those. We're going to bend a new one of these as well and return it and put that on there. So that's what we'll be working on here. I'll take you out to the tractor. We'll take a look at what exactly we need to do to route these properly, and then we'll start bending. Okay, got the first fuel line run. So it's a new one that comes along here, runs up underneath the tank, and then connects into the fuel supply valve over there on the other side of the water trap, right over there. The original one had routed all down in here, and then ran through this hole that the throttle cable runs through, but there's really not enough room for both of them in there. And so it had been, I'll show you here, it had been rubbing. I don't know if you can see this, but you can see that flat spot right there. It had rubbed on that throttle cable over the years, and somebody had brazed it up, like I mentioned, as a bush fix, I think, or field fix anyway. And yeah, I just don't see any real reason why it needed to go through that area. So it's fairly well protected. There's nothing else that moves up in here or anything. I'll strap it a little bit here just so it doesn't vibrate too much, but yeah, so I think that'll be just fine. So that's our fuel supply. Now I got to run one from here coming out of the secondary filter into the injection pump right there. Now the one that they had made a big S, like, and came up and went right in here, but when I look in the manual, it shows that it came out of there, went straight over, went straight up, and then shot straight into that. And that's far simpler, although it'll require a little bending, but that's not a big deal. So I'm going to work on that for a little bit, see if I can get that plumbed in too. Okay, got our other supply line, runs from the fuel filter the final secondary fuel filter up here, across the top, and straight into the injection pump. So we got delivery coming from the tank all the way here into the first stage fuel filter. Out of that, from there it goes into the final stage, then it gets pulled out of there into the injection pump. Next will be, we've got this line, I just have it kind of loosely stuck in here, and this is the original one. I've just got to put new grommets on it, on all these ends, make all those connections, Then I've gotta straighten this one out. I'm not sure. This is the one that evidently dumps excess fuel back into the tank. So I'll have to straighten it once I get this rail put back on. So I'll get that on first, and then we'll get those. Or get that end done. Then the fuel supply will be done. Okay. So all the return line connected to the injection pump goes around here, picks up, I guess, excess fuel from the injectors, returns them here, straighten that line out, and it goes right back into the tank. So we are now plumbed. Hopefully no leaks. I put all new compression rubbers in all the fittings, and hopefully everything's good. Won't know, I guess, until we dump fuel in the tank, certainly, and see if anything's leaking under here. Shouldn't be. I put Teflon tape on all the fittings, and everything's nice and tight, so I think we're good there. So that about does it for fuel system, I think, at this point. I don't think, actually, that I have tightened up the actual injector lines, so I've got to tighten those up yet, I guess. I'm not sure why I didn't, but I didn't. Would have been handier if I'd done it before I put that line on there. But anyway, I'll get that done, and then it's time to probably, I still need to pull the valve cover back off and adjust all the valves. I've also got to get it right back on top dead center so I can check the injection pump timing as well. So that's going to be the next project. Get those two things done. Valves adjusted, injection pump timing set where it's supposed to be. First, I have to get the engine up on top dead center. I think I bumped it over a little bit as I was working on things and when I was installing it, and so I've got to bring it back around. And after that, then it's time to start the wiring. So I'll get the dash. I've got the dash all rebuilt, or well, I got all the gauges in and everything. It goes on here. I'm going to start running all the wiring. I think we're going to put the fuse block. I'm adding a fuse block, and right back up in here is where the original voltage regulator used to be mounted. So I think I'm going to use that as a spot to put the fuse panel that I'm going to add to put it in. It's nice, it's out of the way, it's pretty weather protected. So I'll get that put in, and so that we'll have extra circuits if we want to add lights, other lights other than the headlights and stuff. So, and got to remember to get the oil pressure gauge put in there. Now that oil pressure gauge came with the typical plastic tubing. I think I might go buy some 1/8 inch copper and run that. I just don't, the tubing's okay, but I don't know. I'd feel better with copper on there. So anyway, so that about wraps it up for today. We'll move on to those other things, weather permitting. Right now we got a cold front coming in. We might get some more snow. So we're getting this bit by bit, weather window by weather window. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll see you next time.